To help youth with scholarship opportunities as well as continuing to fight for the cause.
The march was one of at least a dozen similar
Up ahead in Honolulu,
for NPR
June
News, I'm Monica
6th.
in San Francisco.
My goodness.
And in New York, large crowds of protesters filled the Brooklyn Bridge for most of the day in support of George Floyd and calling for police reform. As NPR's Alex Goldmark reports, the crowds were large and energetic, spanning several neighborhoods.
Downtown Honolulu, June 6th, 2020. State Capitol, Honolulu, June 6, 2020. Representing for George Floyd. Andre. Hey. There you go. Hey, Gary. All right. Good to see you. You're coming out. Amazing. Amazing.
Good crowd.
Yeah. There's enough energy for change. It was really inspiring to see all of the young people, the diverse new generation out demonstrating for justice. Makes me think there is some hope for the future of our society yet. The diversity and youth of the crowd was really inspiring. Even while people were protesting, they were still mostly wearing their masks for protection. The youth that organized this protest really was inspiring. Many people spoke about freedom from different perspectives, but an end to police brutality was the issue. My friend and Waianae House Representative Cedric Gates was present, showing his support for greater protection of citizens and modifications of police procedures. Aloha, Hawaii. I'm attorney Andre Wooten. And all of you couldn't help but have seen the demonstrations against police brutality which have gone on around the nation, stemming from the brutal but slow strangulation murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota on Memorial Day. By the videotapes, numerous videotapes of George Floyd pleading for help, saying that he couldn't breathe, and Officer Derck Chavous kneeling on his neck, nonchalantly looking around as if he didn't have a care in the world, while the man said, "I can't breathe," screamed for his mother, and the other officers just continued to hold him down. And as brutal and as shocking as that was, even more shocking was the statement by the district attorney, Michael Freeman, the next day, saying he didn't see that there was a crime being committed that he could prove and establish. One asks, what alternate reality was he looking at? Or was he just assuming that the murder of a black person by a police officer can never be proven as murder in a court of law? And then my question is, which videotapes was he looking at? Because he needs to keep looking at that 10 minutes of videotape with that man kneeling on his neck until he realizes, yes, that is an intentional murder there, because beyond 4 or 5 minutes, there's absolutely no need to say that one is restraining somebody who's already handcuffed and shackled by the feet. This was murder most foul, and that is why there were reactions in Paris. There were protests in London. There were protests in Europe and in South Africa too. Because unfortunately, race-based police brutality is not something that black people are unused to in many parts of the world. And this is a definite legacy of the white supremacist slavery attack on Africa beginning in 1492. Now, in 2020, however, we have a golden opportunity to correct the historical record and begin to repair this damage and to take concrete steps to change the system so that police brutality will not be an unconscious reaction that black people are supposed to continue to suffer silently while they're being brutalized and discriminated against. The shocking first reaction of President Trump to call out the military and then have them attack peaceful demonstrators in Lafayette Park who were just exercising their First Amendment right to assemble and to protest before the 8 o'clock curfew had gone into effect. Trump called the stormtroopers down on the protesters even before the curfew started at 8 o'clock, giving them no warning and no chance to avoid being brutalized by his stormtroopers, many of whom did not wear insignia indicating which branch of the federal service they work for. And consequently, the ACLU and lawyers for a Democratic Society have filed suit against Trump and his paralegals or paramilitary for the assault in Lafayette Park, which enabled Trump to stand up in front of a church uninvited and hold the Bible upside down to promise that he is the law and order president, except that he just ignores the laws. Like the Popsi Comitatus law, which makes it illegal for anyone to use the United States active duty military on the streets of the United States without special laws being in place for a complete breakdown in the urban civil order, which never occurred. Even General Mattis, Trump's former chief of staff, called out Trump for his actions sicking paramilitary troops upon peaceful demonstrators in Lafayette Park without justification. General Mattis pointed out that no president who was really in control of the office has ever attempted to divide Americans like Trump has, and that his attempted use of the military really does harken back to the tactics of the dictators that Trump says he likes to congratulate and emulate so much, like Putin and the guy in North Korea who kills his own family, and other rivals. Aloha Hawaii, this is attorney Andre Wooten again, giving you an update since the protests last weekend over the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. We were gratified to see the thousands of people that came out to support Black Lives Matter at the Honolulu state capitol for the state of Hawaii and in Ala Moana Park last weekend. And we have seen some progress in police reform by Susan Ballard of the Honolulu Police Department, stating that it's time to reevaluate the use of force protocols of the Honolulu Police Department and the vascular hold, the choke hold that they have used upon occasion 5 times, she admitted, over the last 5 years, has been slated for. They have agreed to reevaluate and stop using the chokehold because it is dangerous and certainly freaks people out and makes them, in many cases, more likely to be agitated and resist than chill out the situation totally. We see that Mayor Caldwell has moved to replace the retired members from the State Police Commission. We noted that retired Supreme Court Judge Stephen Levinson retired from the Honolulu Police Commission last week, and former prosecutor and private attorney Loretta Sheehan also retired from the Police Commission. We see that Mayor Caldwell has replaced them with retired Judge Matthew Broderick and retired former prosecutor and Attorney General Douglas Chin. And while those are good and competent people, we are disappointed that no one from the defense bar, no one who actually represents plaintiffs and general people have been appointed to the Honolulu Police Commission. So there's no one to actually articulate the position of the brown and black people who are primarily the victims of excessive policing, which occurs here in Honolulu, as evidenced by the fact that the great numbers of Hawaiian people in incarceration and the great numbers of African American people, twice their actual populations in Hawaii society, are incarcerated. And that's reflected in the lack of jobs for those people too. So we would hope that in these days of reforming police practices, that representatives from the defense bar and representatives from the community organizations which represent ordinary people and not just the businesses would be placed upon the police commission, so that there would be real oversight and not just a rubber stamp for the police chief, which has been the case in the past, as the FBI is looking into that sweetheart $250,000 golden parachute for Police Chief Louis K. Aloha before he was forced to resign. So let's hope we get some real reform in the police commission to keep down the numbers of excessive encounters with citizens for no good reason, and to eliminate cases of excessive use of force. Mahalo. Thanks for listening. And if you should be the unfortunate victim of a negligent driver on the highways, call me at 545-4165, and I can represent you and have all of your damages compensated. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm attorney Andre Wooten. People have needed professional legal help since the dawn of civilization. If you have been injured on public roads in the state of Hawaii and you need help defending your legal rights, call me. I can help.